Hey everyone, my name is Igor Peković. I'm test automation engineer at Infinum. I've been working in QA for more than 3.5 years, and today I will talk about the transition from manual testing to test automation, because that's the road that I took, and I'll try to give you some advices from my own perspective, and hopefully to help you in your road if you are planning to move to automation. Firstly, we will start with some overview of manual and automated testing and see some benefits of automation. Then we will talk about software testing skills and why are they important, in my opinion, in your way to becoming a test automation engineer. Then we will talk about, I'll give you some tips on how to actually start with automation. And in the end, we will come up with some conclusions. So manual testing. Can somebody tell me what manual testing is in some simple definition or your own words?
Testing without writing a code or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. That is one. That can be one definition.
Executing test cases.
Yeah. And what about automated testing? What would that be?
Designing, creating the scripts that are supposed to do some test processes.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Manual testing in some, I guess, most simple definition, in my words, would be skipping. Well, it doesn't mind. So manual testing is actually just testing that requires human intervention in order for test execution. And some examples of manual testing are testing types: exploratory testing, smoke testing, regressions, usability, user acceptance, end-to-end. So basically, if you ask yourself, what can you test manually? I guess the answer is everything. But you will choose between manual and automated testing if you are using both, and based on that, you will see on which way you want to go. Then automated testing is, like some of you said, testing that is where tests are executed by the help of automation tools. Some types of automated testing are where automated testing can be applied are unit tests, integration tests, end-to-end tests, performance, load, security testing, and much more. You can actually try to automate any type of testing, but that probably wouldn't be a best solution. Okay, so let's see some benefits of automation. So let's say you are actually using automation. Why does it help you? You will definitely have faster test execution results and quicker results. Then you will reduce time for releases, because if you automate your regression tests, you will run them before each release, and you will definitely see a benefit there if you run them automatically than manually. Then another thing that why automation is beneficial is because it eliminates human error. Because when running tests manually, especially regression tests or smoke tests, or the tests that are repeating, you have that possibility that you will make some human error. With the automation, you are eliminating it. And there are much more benefits of test automation, but you may ask yourself, can automation then replace manual testing? Because you can try to automate, I guess, any test case. And what will be the answer here?
No.
No.
Not
Definitely no. So reasons why it cannot, because you will definitely have exploratory testing, user acceptance testing, user experience testing, all the testing types where you're not applying automation, because not everywhere you will be able to apply it, or somewhere you just won't see a benefit of automating tests that you don't repeat frequently or are just executed once in a time. Another thing is because you will have small projects. So on small projects, you probably don't need automation at all, because it comes with a cost, and if you are going to work on that project for a few months, you just don't see a benefit of implementing it there. So what is important to know is that the purpose of automation is not to replace manual testing, it's to facilitate the manual part. So we should keep that in mind when talking about testing in general, but also when talking about test automation and working as test automation engineer. Okay. So let's see some software testing skills that are important for manual testers, but also for test automation engineers. So if you are working in software testing, or if you are planning to work in software testing, you will definitely have to possess some of the skills for testing, and some of them could be analytical skills and problem-solving skills, then domain knowledge, which is really important because you want to know the product that you are testing. You don't want to, just test blindly. You want to understand the product from the user perspective, and then to just see which parts of projects are used the most, and to base your testing based it on that knowledge. Then you need to understand software development lifecycle. I see that the things are appearing a bit late on the projector. So software development lifecycle is really important, one of the elementary things in development. But software testing is just part of it. So you need to know where that part comes, and to plan your tests ahead, and to know when to execute your tests. So that's why you really need to understand the whole software development cycle and what it consists of. And then you have teamwork and communication. So working as QA, you will definitely cooperate with other QA engineers, or with other programmers, designers, stakeholders, whoever is on the project. And obviously you need to communicate to them, you need to cooperate with them, and that's really an important skill. But what would you call, like, if you would have to choose one term that is related to testing and that represents kind of a set of skills that a good QA engineer should have, in my opinion, that would be QA mindset, because QA mindset is actually something that differentiates you from, for example, programmers or some other people on the project. Because if you ask programmer what does he care about the project, the application, he will tell you he cares about how to create it and how to get it to the happy path. How to build the things that user is asking. And that's okay, you need to think about that too. But you as QA engineer should also think about other out-of-the-box stuff like how can you break that application, or what are all possible ways that user could use your application, and in which way he can use it in the right way or in the wrong way. And that is actually what QA mindset represents. So it kind of represents thinking out of the box and questioning everything. So QA mindset is kind of important for everyone working in software testing. So both manual testers and test automation engineers. Okay, so let's move on and see what are some essential skills for test automation engineer, in my opinion. So one of them is strong technical knowledge. Okay, here it is. Meaning, if you are working in software testing, if you are a software tester, even if not doing automation, you will need to have technical skills, obviously. And if you want to be good at your job, you will have to use different tools or write some scripts or something like that. But if you decide to move to automation, you should try to improve all this technical knowledge and to focus on it, because it will be a must as a skill for you in your future career. Another thing is proficiency in programming languages. Again, good software testers should know some programming languages. They should be able, to read some code snippets, to write some scripts or something like that. But if you choose to move to automation, you will use it daily. So you will need to be proficient in at least one programming language for the start when you're starting your career, and later in probably more than one. Okay. Another thing is effective use of automation tools. When you start working in automation, you will definitely have to choose some automation tools. It's not just programming. So if you're starting to automate, mobile applications, you will need to use maybe Appium. Then if you are working on some web projects or web applications, you will probably use Selenium or Playwright or Cypress or some other tool for web automation. And whichever you do, you will need to be effective with it. So you will need to learn it from the scratch and to know all the tricks about that automation tool in order to write good automation scripts. Okay. Skip one slide. Okay. So when you decide you want to move from manual testing to automation, you will possess some of the skills, but you will need to work on some other skills. And those are the skills that we mentioned. You will need to focus on them. But what it helps, or what helped me in my case, is that we in Infinum have a progression framework, which actually defines skills or responsibilities that, for example, test automation engineer should have. And if you decide to progress in your career, so either in one level, in one position, but different level, for example, if you're a manual tester and you want to step up, you will know which skills you need to work on. And if you want to career switch to test automation, which I did, you will see some other skills and some other requirements that you need to fulfill in order to be able to come to that position. So that is really helpful for you to know to put those goals ahead of you, because you will need to prepare yourself on your way to the test automation. Another thing that is good is if you can apply all these goals on your current project. So if you are working on some project and it already has some automation there, you have some automation engineers, you will it will be easy for you. You just need to step in and take responsibility and try automating things and try helping. If not, maybe you can see if there is a benefit of introducing automation to your project, and if it does, maybe this is a great time for you to drive that change on your project, and you should do that. But if not, then maybe it's a time for you to change the project. Okay. So now that we've seen some of the skills that you should work on and what is automation actually, let's see how to actually start creating automated tests and how to get your hands dirty. So first thing is that you should start small, fail small, learn fast. So what does that mean? When you start with automation, you probably will make mistakes, and you don't want to make big mistakes right from the beginning, because if you invest too much time on some tests or some way, and after a while you figure out that it was all wrong, you did it wrong way, you will have to just put it all to waste. So instead of that, you should concentrate on automating small things, some simple test cases, some simple stuff, and in that way, even if you do mistake, it's important that you learn from that mistake and not to repeat them, and continue, because you will learn along the way. Okay, another thing is that you should dive deeper into automation while you're working in automation. So what does that mean is, obviously you won't know your automation tool as you should right from the start. Because when you create some first tests in your career and you look back to them after a while, you'll probably think of them as garbage. And that's okay, because you don't know everything about automation tool in the beginning. And you actually, during the time, you will know your automation tool better and better, and you should use that to improve your tests, to work on them, to create better tests every time, and to grow with the time. Okay. Another thing is that you really want to have right from the start is that you don't want to have fragile tests. It's kind of a pain point in the test automation, from my experience. If you don't have a stable automated tests, then you don't have confidence in them, and it doesn't bring any value to anyone. It doesn't help anyone. And if you if you see that you have developed some tests that are like that, you should investigate what are the reasons for that. And if the reasons is your design of the test, then you should change them, obviously. You should improve them and make them stable. But even if it's not up to you, so if the reason is because of environment or something else, then you should communicate that to developers or to DevOps or to some other people that can help you, and not leave it as they are, but raise that problem and try to solve it as quickly as possible. Okay. And another thing about starting with test automation is that you are now actually creating automated tests, meaning you are programming, you are writing scripts, but that's not just what you should do. you should always keep in mind that you are still QA engineer. So your main goal should still be assuring quality. So you should focus on both things in this way. You should focus on bringing quality and automating tests. But even if you get a request to automate something, you shouldn't do that blindly. You should, I guess, examine everything and see if you are really bringing some value with what you are doing or assuring some quality. Okay, so let's see what are some conclusions here. Well, don't move to automation. But there is a but, because if you're not excited about programming, if you don't see yourself as someone who is going to work daily in programming, then maybe moving to automation is not a right choice for you. Even if you are senior software tester and you're not working full-time as test automation engineer, you will still be maybe able to write good automation scripts and to be a good even programmer. But even if you are not seeing yourself doing that every day on daily basis, then maybe that's not a good choice, because not moving from manual testing is also fine, and there's nothing wrong with that. Another thing is, I guess, the mindset of QAs. We all that work in QA, we like to break things. But if you are working in test automation, you will also build things, because you will probably have your automation framework, and you will build it during the time. So if you are not seeing yourself as someone who will constantly work on improving things and building your automation frameworks, that's kind of thing similar to what programmers do with their projects. They're building, they're not breaking stuff. Then that's another thing to think about your choice. And another thing is, if you think that you will run away from regressions, you won't. So working in automation will lead you to developing and mostly maintaining same test cases, because if you will probably automate regression tests first, if we talk about end-to-end testing. So during the time, development will change, things will change, and you will need to adapt your automated tests to all those changes, and you will have to, run your tests prior to each release, or even daily, or even more several times a day, and check results. And every time there is something bad, you will need to check what's wrong with them and fix that. So I guess you can never run away from regressions. But if you are okay with all of this, then my advice is don't try to automate everything, because this is like a commonly mistaken belief, I guess, from the stakeholders mostly, that you can automate everything. You probably can hear some of stakeholders saying that, okay, great, we can, introduce automation, automate everything, and then it will just keep working, and we will change nothing with only one or two test automation engineers. That's not the way the thing works. Because when you start with automation, especially, you will have to prioritize what you want to automate. Because you don't want to go and automate the less important things before most important things. You'll probably see what are, critical things in your application and start with them. Because if you, try to automate things that nobody cares about or doesn't bring any value, then that's not good for no one. Okay. Another thing is that automation is more than just a script execution. So yeah, you will a lot of time you will spend with executing scripts and creating new scripts, but also a lot of time you will spend maintaining them, and also a lot of time you will have to think about what you are automating. Because, for example, if someone sends you a test case and says this should be automated, you shouldn't just blindly automate it. You should think about is this the right test case to be automated, or can it be improved? Maybe by adding few steps, you would bring much more value there, or you don't see a value in automating that test case because maybe you have something similar, or you can adapt it to some other test case. So this is kind of what I already said. You should think like QA still, even while doing the automation. And lastly, my advice is that you should always keep improving skills and learning. And this kind of can apply to every IT job. But if you're moving from manual testing to test automation, that is like a must, because things are changing really fast in automation and in programming. So if you are working in using one programming language and one automation tool, maybe tomorrow you will switch to another project, and it can mean that you need to change to another automation tool, or you need to change to another programming language or something like that. But even without that, things are always improving in the same programming languages and in the same automation tools, and you need to keep up with that in order to create robust tests and stable tests and good tests. Another thing is, I guess we've all heard about ChatGPT and AI and how it's going to take all of our jobs and everything. So yeah, those are like all new things that are coming, and you should probably have an eye on that and see how you can use them in your job and in your test automation, I guess. So that's all from my side. If you have any questions. Yes.
Yeah, we do. First off, thank you for a great presentation. It's always nice to hear and see my mentor sharing his huge knowledge with the wider audience. I actually thought of these two questions before you mentioned. So the first question is, do you use ChatGPT in your day-to-day life, like activities to help you with some code parts instead of Stack Overflow or something? Have you used that since it's here? And the second question is, let's not think of the most negative scenario where ChatGPT or any other AI tool takes over the whole QA engineering role. If it's the positive aspect, what would be the core skills, or let's say skills or something humanly that you think are the most important that future AI tool wouldn't be able to replace? That's it.
Thanks for your questions. Okay, so do I use ChatGPT? Well, maybe not that often, at least for now. But yes, I've used it, and from my experience, it can be really helpful in things like looking through your code, seeing how can it be improved. I think it's really good at that point. Also, you can always try to find a better way to implement something that we did in some way. So. Yeah, I've used it, but I wouldn't say I use it daily, at least for now. And another question about what ChatGPT cannot replace. Well, I guess that's related with the question what you cannot automate. So if you are, asking yourself from user perspective, what would user do? If you have some usability testing, and why do we have usability testing in the first place? Is because different people will do different kind of things, and things like ChatGPT, they are always learning from people, and from some already knowledge base. But you can never know, what can somebody do. So I guess probably the things that you cannot automate or that are the hardest to automate are maybe the things that will fail. If it answers your question.
How much is important to have manual testing experience as you have? Is it important for becoming automation engineer?
Yeah, well, that's kind of a point of my presentation, is that it is really important because I've had experience, and I had others people told me about their experience, where they would say always that people who went through manual testing and went to automation are understanding better of the whole automation thing than just maybe developers who are automating stuff. So in that point of time, that's actually what I was going to, what I wanted to point out with the thing that test automation is more than just test script execution, because you can tell any developer just go and automate this, and they will do that without a problem. But it takes you, a QA mindset to think about everything and think about the quality.
If you have more questions.
What motivated you to make a change from manual testing to automation testing?
I guess I was interested in automation from the start, in all those technical things, in programming as well. And test automation allows me to work in both QA and programming. So I really like, programming, but on the other hand, I really like, being a QA and, doing all this job of QA and being involved in all cycles of development and thinking about, bigger picture in the whole project, and not just programming and coding stuff. So I think that.
Okay. I have one question, if I can ask. One for you, one for your manager. But if somebody
Before somebody was. What? Please.
Since you're writing unit and integration tests for code that is written by developers, this kind of structure, is it completely ruling out TDD approach?
Sorry, I didn't understand you quite correctly.
You're writing the tests for the code that is written by developers.
Okay.
Is it completely ruling out test-driven code? Like test-driven law?
Well, I don't think so. Really.
Like developers are not writing any tests at your
No, they are. Developers are mostly writing unit tests, and it kind of depends, because I work for an agency. We have a lot of different projects, and we don't have the same level of automation applied everywhere. But I guess that's kind of a common thing in automation, at least in our community, is that programmers will mostly write their unit tests for their components and everything and functions. But from my experience, I've mostly worked on developing tests for end-to-end tests or API tests, and less those kind of lower level tests for unit and integration. Thank you.
Please.
So when deciding not to automate something, do you choose because of the complexity of the thing? You will spend more time making scripts and etc. Or is it because it's not usable? You won't use the test many times. I know there's a sweet spot. You have to choose left or right, or will you go?
Yeah, well, it depends. You can have a functionality that is hard to implement, hard to automate, but it is also very important. And if you see a value in automating it, then you should do that, even if it will take you a lot of time. But if you will solve a problem of manual tester, you will definitely should automate it. So yeah, you have to think about both things, but in the end, it all comes down to thinking about how much value are you bringing with automating something or not automating, and to have a priority, and then just to move to that priority.
Please.
Okay, so it's good that we did the touch base with the automation, and then I came to conclusion that I want to ask two questions, one for Igor and one for you. Since you have experience in automation, you saw a lot of guys that are moving from functional part to automation part, so I'm interested to hear what is the main reason that triggered those people to move from manual into the automation? What is the main stuff that triggered them to do that change? And the second question is not so popular question, but I think that everybody here will, be very glad to get the answer on it. Is the salary between manual and automated engineer? It is very interesting.
My salary.
I want to hear from you and your manager, based on your experience, what do you think now? Because in previous years, testing was not so popular. We have programmers, the programmers have earning very good salaries. Nowadays we have testers. Testers are also earning very good salary. But what do you think, if you can compare them based on your experience? I don't ask about the numbers, but do you think that the salaries are matching, or that maybe automation engineer is more competitive on the market than manual one? Or maybe they are there.
Yeah, thanks. My answer would be that depends. I don't think there is a clear rule about that. So let me first answer your first question.
Yes.
That's why do people change from manual to test automation? I already told them what are my reasons. So I think actually you can be interested in automation or in programming, but you are working as manual tester. But that's your goal from the beginning. So people see their way to automation as starting in manual testing. So that could be one of the reasons. I don't know. There might be another reasons, but I think that's most important thing. Another question about salaries. Well, you have a different levels of software testers and test automation engineers. So, if somebody is manual tester, for example, we have employees in our company who are by the role manual testers, software testers, but they know programming and they know automation tools and they do automated testing. So it's not just that you will have like a higher salary if you are working full-time automation. That doesn't have to be the case, because you also have people who are working in manual testing and have all those competences. So you were talking about that you as an expert, you have a lot of competences. You know more things than others, and it doesn't have to mean that you are a test automation engineer are better than some manual tester. So I guess it depends on the experience and on a level where are you at. So,
And even if you are a manual tester, you can be team leader, you can be lead engineer. There are in our progression framework that we have in Infinum, it's open source. You can check that. It's on our website, so you can see what lines we have. Currently, I don't know for the QA what lines are, but I'm sure that we have multiple lines. Some for people that want to go in manager roles, some for people that want to be experts as engineers.
Individual track.
Yeah, individual track. Thank you. So it really depends, on which state level of that track you are. Maybe if you are on progression on documentation level track, lower level, and someone is on QA manual track, bigger level, maybe that salaries will be different, you know.
Yeah, I ask because I know that from my experience, main trigger with the people that want to join in the testing is who has bigger salary, the guy who works manually or the guy in automation. And then I will decide what I will become. That's I wanted your opinion. What do you think based on your managerial role? What did you hear? What did you saw in the past years? Maybe internationally as well. How are these ranges are working? You know, maybe I understand as well that nowadays
For sure,
automations
there are some
standardized.
people and some cases when that is the main trigger. But I hope that in our company that is not the main trigger. Knowledge should be the main trigger for those moving. You know, you are trying to get more experience, to be better at something, and not usually, but we had some special cases when somebody tried to be, for example, team leader, and that after some time just decide to quit that and go back on the previous role. So I wouldn't say that money is the only reason and only trigger there.
People are starting jobs because of different reasons, obviously,
Yeah.
but I think it all depends on your skill set. Because if you don't have a skill set for test automation and you think, yeah, I will have a bigger salary going to test automation, you won't go there if you don't have skills for it, and it won't bring you a bigger salary. On the other hand, if you have important skills and you decide to stay in manual testing, but you can work in automation when needed, or you can, manage automation engineers, because we have, team leads or software testers who are senior software testers, and they are, putting work to automation engineers. That means that they can manage them. And I assume, I don't know, but I assume that it doesn't mean that automation engineers will have bigger salary.
Okay,
It really depends on the
it depends. Okay. Good.
One question. What's your great presentation first. So, yeah, my question is, what's your opinion about the future of manual testers and so on? So, because we're living in the world where everything starts to be automated and everyone wants to be something easier and so on. So, should we encourage, I don't know, some new people in Montenegro to start with this job, or just?
Yeah. Well, you need to work on improving your skill set. We already had a question: can everything be automated? And the answer is no. We all agree on that. And you will always have some degree of manual testing that is required. So I believe that that's going to stay that way. But if you are working in manual testing and you see yourself in manual testing, that doesn't mean you don't need to improve your skills, or you don't need to learn programming, or because all what I already said, if you learn all those skills, you will be more confident in your knowledge. Probably you would have some other benefits of that. So I wouldn't say that manual testing will disappear, at least in many times.
That's all. Okay. I hope that you found these topics interesting, and probably you think now that I will say it's enough of testing, but I invite you to go outside and meet outside and test some beers and wines there. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.